Anyone can pretend to be wealthy. It's not difficult to pretend to be wealthy. Do you know what's difficult? Acting as if you're not wealthy, even if you make a good living. Nothing lasts forever. People become so used to their new situation after the initial rush of new conditions, such as earning more money. When people start making more money, they may begin to believe that the money will keep flowing permanently. Thinking in this way is a great way to avoid giving oneself a safety net when the fun times come to an end. Assuming that your current financial situation will not last forever is a good way to give yourself a safety net. Stress test the worst case scenario, and if everything goes well, you've given yourself some room to breathe. Getting rich is not the same as remaining rich. There are numerous ways to become wealthy. Start a business, save and invest wisely, inherit money, get lucky, and so on. Staying rich, on the other hand, requires only a few simple things: self-awareness, modesty, and the ability to delay gratification with a portion of your capital. But the million-dollar question is, where do I start? To answer that and more in this video, I will share with you step by step on how to invest $1,000 in 2022 so that you can start to become rich and stay rich. Hey there, welcome to Usable Wisdom, where we will be showing you the latest tips and tricks in the financial space, as well as business and entrepreneurship. If you want success in your life and business, then you came to the right channel. Because we will be uploading more videos like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more life-changing content. And without further ado, let's get it on. Consider this example to visualize what investing is and how it works. Assume you worked very hard and saved $300,000. You could go to a Ferrari dealership and buy a luxurious car to show off your wealth. Or you could buy real estate and rent it out. Each month, you will receive at least $2,000. If you realize that you no longer want to receive the $2,000 a month paycheck, you can recoup your initial investment by selling it. In fact, the value of your investment may increase. As a result, you will sell it for a higher price, and that is how money is made. But you can't buy a house for $1,000. That's not even enough for a down payment. However, this does not preclude you from investing $1,000. Spend your money elsewhere and let it grow. The simplest method is to simply deposit it into a savings account and earn interest on it. However, why would the bank pay you to keep your money in the bank? Shouldn't they instead charge you? No. The bank, you see, will take your money and lend it to someone else at a higher interest rate, then share a portion of the profit with you. In a nutshell, that is how banks operate. The only drawback to this strategy is that the interest rate on deposits is so low that it isn't worth it. The highest rate you're likely to get is 0.8%. Which means that if you put $1,000 in a savings account today, you'll get an extra $8 in a year, which is extremely low because the Fed targets an inflation rate of 2 to 3%, which means that if you're not getting at least 2 or 3%, the real value of your $1,000 will depreciate over time, which means you'll be able to buy fewer goods every year. But why? Since interest rates are generally low this year, as a result of the pandemic forcing the Fed to lower them in order to encourage everyone to borrow and spend. Once we are out of the recession, the Fed will raise interest rates to 1, 2, or even 3%, which implies interest rates on savings accounts will rise too. The second option is to purchase government bonds. A government bond is a security that the government issues to raise funds to support government spending. Assume the government wishes to construct a school but lacks the necessary funds. So it issues an IOU, a piece of paper that states that the US government owes this much money, plus interest, to whoever owns the security. Sure, this is an overly simplistic illustration, but that's the point in a nutshell. Interest rates have a large impact on government bonds. So because interest rates are extremely low this year, government bond rates are less than 1%. However, 2 years ago, when interest rates were high, government bond rates were as high as 3%, which is not bad. Because government bonds are the least risky investment you can make, any investment carries some level of risk. What are the chances that the US government will be able to repay the loan? Is the government going to default on its loan? For the US, if the government goes bankrupt, the entire US economy may have to fail, which is why US government bonds are considered the safest investment in the world. However, if you want to make a higher return, say 10%, 20%, or 30%, you should consider investing in the stock market. For instance, Amazon's stock price went up by more than 80% just this year, while Google's stock price increased by nearly 30%, and Tesla's stock price increased by 721%. Yes, you got that right, 721%. So why would anyone invest somewhere else when they can double or triple their money in the stock market? That is where the risk is, and there isn't much risk in government bonds, for example. To some extent, it is risk-free, but there is a risk that individual companies will fail. It may report negative earnings, and basically any negative news can cause the stock price to fall. The company may release a product, and if the public does not like it, negative headlines may result, causing the price to fall. As a result, higher returns imply greater risk. Apple is a well-established company with far fewer chances of failure than Tesla, for example, but it also has far less room for growth. As a result, Tesla grew by 721% this year, while Apple grew by only 70%. What you must decide is how much risk you can tolerate without going insane. If that $1,000 is all you have left, perhaps risking it all isn't the best option, because if things go wrong, you could lose most of it. Investing in an index is another way for investors to reduce risk in the stock market. The most well-known is the S&P 500, which tracks the top 500 companies in the United States. So an index fund would essentially invest in the top 500 US companies. Some of these businesses will undoubtedly fail, while others will thrive. According to historical data, the average return rate for the S&P 500 since the 1920s has been around 10%. This means that purchasing a share of these index funds entails purchasing a minuscule stake in the top 500 US corporations. My three favorite index funds are the Vanguard 500 Index Fund, Invesco's Triple Q, and Fidelity Zero Total Market Index Fund. They're all great, and they all invest in the same companies. But how do you get your hands on these index funds? I mean, where do you even begin? First, you must locate a broker who is qualified to sell these stocks. In the past, one has to pick up the phone and call him to ask to sell some shares. Remember the story of the Wolf of Wall Street? He would call people all day and try to sell them worthless stocks. But thank God we are in 2022 and things are much better and easier. Brokerage firms developed apps that allow you to buy shares from the convenience of your phones, such as Robinhood, Webull, and others. You only need to install one of these apps and sign up to begin investing right away. This video is intended to be as straightforward as possible, so that anyone interested in investing can get started straight away. Frequently, you want to start investing but have a million questions. So you start Googling this and that and ultimately give up and try afterward a few months later. So fingers crossed, this brief video has provided an answer to one of these queries. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed and found value in the video. If you did, kindly give us a thumbs up. We'd really appreciate it. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing to see more content like this. With that said, have a great day, you guys. See you all in the next one.